¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? Declan Rice, I was not aware of your game. Declan Rice, you are who you think you are. Declan Rice, jollof rice, jasmine rice, basmati rice, whatever, le riz sauté, fried rice, les gars, whatever type of rice you want. Declan Rice, you are that guy. Declan Rice scores 2 bangers. Des bangers. 2 banger free kicks. Les gars, mais c'est quoi ce bazar? Arsenal FC, Woolwich Arsenal FC, Mickey Mouse FC score 3 at the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse to smack Real Madrid 3-0 and take a commanding lead to the Bernabeu for the second leg in 8 days' time. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, even though I have got a huge Arsenal agenda, #1 Arsenal hater, nigga, at some point, you gotta say game respects game. Game respects game. Today, football won. Today, no juju, black magic, Real Madrid, hocus pocus, black sorcery supreme. No, Papa Perez, the wires, they did not go through. They didn't go through. Whatever it was, the juju, the incantations, they did not work. They did not work. 3-0. 1-0, okay, you say, you can lose at the Emirates, fine. 2, it's complicated. It's really complicated, but yeah, you could still do it. 3, Liga, come on. 3-0. 3-0. And honestly, it could have been more. It could have been more. And it's not crazy to say. What a performance from Arsenal. What a performance from Arsenal. And guys, the hate watch today, it was not quite a success. Because obviously I would have wanted, if it's a hate watch, I hate both teams. You want to draw. You want to draw, keep it high stakes, let it go all the way to the top. But Arsenal winning 3-0. I mean, the thing is, though, Arsenal fans, they can be delusional now. They can go and say whatever they want. They smacked Real Madrid, the so-called best team in the world, 3-0. The historic, the champions of the Champions League itself, the Champions League personified. They beat the Champions League personified 3-0 convincingly. No hocus pocus, no nonsense, fair and square, no fugazi penalties, no red cards. I mean, okay, there was a red card, but it's completely warranted. Nothing. They did it. Guys, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm praising Arsenal. I am praising Arsenal Football Club, Mickey Mouse FC, les gars. Where have they've come from far. They've come from far. But yeah, I've got to give my flowers. I've got to give my flowers. And this is, Arsenal fans, enjoy it while it lasts, because it's not going to come often. But putting that to the side now, Real Madrid, ¿qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? Where were you? Guys, it was not Real Madrid. It was not Real Madrid playing. It was Castilla. It was the B team. It was Los Blancos B, the B team playing. Les gars, c'est quoi ça? 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙼𝘾𝘼, le Mobutu, Vinicius, Rodrigo. Where were you guys? Où ils sont partis? Où? They made it seem at the beginning of the season, they told us, Real Madrid last season, winning the league, winning the Champions League, bringing in the best player in the world. Football is done for 10 years, les gars. Le football a été respecté. Football was respected today. Ils étaient nuls. They were trash. They deserve what they got today. No juju, no fugazi penalties, nothing. They nearly got one. Hey, they nearly got one. They nearly had, but no, nothing, rien du tout. Et le football a été respecté. Football was respected today. Wow. They had no answers whatsoever. They played their same haram, terrorist football, sitting back, inshallah, si Dieu le veut, if God wills it ball. And God said, no, ça ne passera pas. Le juju, ça ne passera pas. The juju was not working. The sorcerers, the incantations, they were not going. You guys, the spiritual battle was won today. The demons did not win. They could not do, and the demons were exercised. And for that, I gotta give kudos to Arsenal. I have to give kudos to Arsenal. But going back, ladies and gentlemen, we have to talk about one man today. Declan Rice. I was not aware of your game. Les gars, les bangers, 2 magnificent free kicks. Honestly, at first, I thought for the first one, I don't know, is the wall not set up correctly? Is the keeper? No. I mean, you could maybe argue that maybe Courtois should anticipate it more. The goal could be a bit further. No, he just curls it right past it, goes right just before the post. Brilliant free kick. Nearly unstoppable free kick. The second one for me is even better. Les gars, c'est malade mental. The second free kick is a thing of absolute perfection. Beauty. Top bins. You cannot go more top bins than what he did. Les gars, la Lulu, he went top bins of top bins. He went upper 90 of the upper 90. The angle was too right. It was the right angle. It was too right. Les gars, mais quel but. What a strike. And then afterwards, 𝙋𝙬𝘼𝘾𝘼 Moreno, another really good, well-worked goal from Arsenal. Good pass from 𝙀𝙊𝘿𝘾𝘼 to 𝙋𝙬𝘼𝘾 Moreno at the top of the box. Pulls back off well. Great striker play for somebody who's not a striker by trade to go and to get the third goal to really seal off the night. And obviously for Arsenal fans right now, probably one of the greatest moments in your Champions League history, in fairness, with this. Man, les gars, wesh, les gars. Wow. 3-0. 3-0. Guys, capture the screenshot. If you're an Arsenal fan, take it, because, I mean, knowing your history, you might not get many more of these, but wow. You guys out, you have to say football respected today, but from everybody from Real Madrid, the dictator himself. Honestly, realistically, probably one of the better players today on the night. Mbappe had a couple looks, had that one chance where he got sent through on goal by Bellingham and tried to do his trademark, sort of open up his hips to try to either find it back post or shoot it inside, but try it right on goal. But apart from that, really quiet. At least he had some things, tried to dribble, so on and so forth. But Vinny, the guy who's the pretender to the Ballon d'Or throne. This is what a Ballon d'Or candidate, top 2 Ballon d'Or is like. Les gars, how he has fallen. Nothing today. No activity, not even dribbling. At least the thing with Vinny is usually, even if he doesn't have like the best game, he tries. He's there, he's dribbling, he's trying things. And even today, not even going, not taking on his defender. Had maybe 1 or 2 the entire game, but not much. You go and you look, successful dribbles. Only 3 dribbles attempted. For Vinny, that's low. And 0 successful dribbles. Not a single one. Not a single successful dribble in the game. If we look at Mbappe, I think Mbappe was a bit more successful in his attempts. Yeah, 4 out of 6. That is respectable stuff. That's actually pretty good. So Mbappe today, can't really go on him for too much, although he had one really bad set in that second half. Modric was okay today, but everybody else from today, it was just a mid performance. And honestly, you got to say, that's why I'm saying football today, ladies and gentlemen, was respected because the better team won on the day. The better team won on the day. Yes, Madrid had a couple of their chances, but if we look at the actual stats, and I know people are going to go, stats don't always matter, but stats, yes, they're not the only thing, but they do tell you a lot about the game. You go and you look at the game first and foremost, the XG 1.51 to 0.5 in favor of Arsenal. Possession was fairly split with 54 to 46. At first, in that first half, I thought Arsenal really did dominate the ball a bit more, but eventually, obviously, at 3-0, you don't need to go and get another goal. So Arsenal did begin to sit back and Real Madrid got more of the ball. But you look, 12 shots, 11 shots on target, 2 chances, big chances created. The XG from open play was better. XG from set play, 0.5. Overall, definitely created the much better chances. Honestly, like, from Arsenal's perspective, this is the perfect performance. Defensively, they were absolutely immaculate. I was talking earlier about how good Rice was. Saka as well. I mean, the headlines are going to go to Declan Rice today, but Saka as well, coming back from injury, doesn't even have, 3 full games in him, if I'm not mistaken. Excellent today. Completely. Again, in French, we say, il a mélangé David Alaba. He sent him. He was mixing him up like a mixtape. A very good performance from Bukayo Saka. And then you got to go and give respect to the defense. Saliba and Kivior especially. He who was coming in replacing Gabriel Magalhaes, who's injured. You said, it's going to be the defensive frailties. He's not going to be able to withstand the pressure of Mbappe, of Vinny, of Rodrigo, so on and so forth. Pocketed them all, every last one of them. And again, another excellent performance from who a lot of people have been saying the next Real Madrid center back, William Saliba, pocketed Mbappe again. It sort of happened once before with at Marseille, between Marseille and PSG when William Saliba was there. But again, today, excellent. going in the threat in behind wasn't there. I mean, they got the one chance that 𝙀𝙀 sort of threw on goal, if you want to go and say. But apart from that, nothing else. Impeccable defensively. There, I think a 7.1 is actually criminally low for him. Jurrien Timber as well defended excellently against Vinny Jr. Didn't get dribbled a single time. Pocketed him, left him with nothing but scrubs. Again, even 7.7 for me is quite low for him. Odegaard today, didn't really see him much, didn't really do all that much in the game. It was fine, but I see average performance, maybe 6.6. Maybe it's a bit harsh on him, but did his stuff. Didn't seem really all that much. But hey, I don't win against his former club. That's fine. And as we've already spoken about, Declan Rice, what a performance by him. 2 goals, 2 brilliant free kicks, 5 shots in total. I mean, what a performance. This is one of the most complete Champions League performances in a long while. Even without his 2 goals that he scored, I thought he was excellent. Defensively, bombing forwards, making those late runs, getting shots. Was just everywhere. Making good forward passes, spraying, going forward. I think he's just excellent today by every single metric that you can have. We also said Martinelli. I think it was fine. I think it was lively in the first half. Sort of took it down quite significantly in that second half, and wasn't nearly as impactful and as what's the word I'm looking for? As didn't weigh nearly as much on the game in the second, but. Again, still very good from his perspective. And Moreno, as always spoke about, didn't really see him too much in the game overall. But hey, I gotta say, he scored a goal, scored a crucial goal, very important goal at 2-0. Even though I guess the game is done, 3-0 heading to the Bernabeu really gives you a pretty significant safety net going into the Bernabeu. And to talk about the Real Madrid performances, I mean, you go first. Camavinga with silly red card going and kicking the ball away. And I get innocent frustration and so on and so forth. But if you got to be consistent, when Declan Rice did it at the beginning of the season in the Premier League, he kicks it away in frustration. These players know that if you do so, you get carded. He does it there in frustration. Yes, I understand. Many people will do the same thing, but got to say it's a yellow. You should know better. You know you're on a card. You're important to the team. They don't. I mean, you think that 𝙀𝙬𝘖𝘶 is out already. You've got an aging Modric in the midfield. So again, just a loss of discipline. Really is the only way I can say it. Not the best of performances from it again either. Thing is, overall, from the Madrid standpoints, bar Vinny, I would say. Did anybody have and maybe Alaba, who really struggled? I would say against Saka. There's no one there who has a very a terrible performance by any means. I think everyone was just below par. They were not. This did not feel like a Champions League semifinal from anybody in this game. Jude Bellingham as well. I mean, in fairness, you go and you say that even 𝙀𝙀, they see the free kick and they're saying, yeah, fair enough. True. There's on the free kicks, you can almost say that there's not really much you can go and say about that. They're just 2 wonder strikes. But even before then, a 1-0 win for Arsenal today would have been harsh on Arsenal. 2-0, 3-0, I think is maybe does it flatter Arsenal? I think 3-0 for me personally, I think is a fair reflection of the game because Real Madrid just did not turn up. If it was not for a Courtois who stood on his head today, 6.9 from him, I think is criminal. Some of the saves, he had 5 saves in total. Yes, he conceded 2 goals. XG's faced, he prevented. I thought some of the saves, especially that not this first set of level saves, but the second one afterwards, truly great sequence of saves there. But again, if he's not standing on his head, you could legitimately be talking about 4 or 5 goals in this game. And at that point, I don't care who you are, Madrid, Barca, whoever you are, remontada, this, that, and the other, you can be under the influence of the Holy Spirit, and even he is going to struggle. But wow. I mean, being serious, obviously, people, I don't like Real Madrid, so on and so forth, but talking more seriously, we talked about, as I mentioned earlier on in the video, we talked about how last season, even though Real Madrid, you go and think, when I think of Real Madrid, they don't necessarily have an identity. They don't have a style of play, but they're very adaptable. They're very pragmatic. That's the best way of saying how Carlo Ancelotti is. He sort of gives a lot of freedom to his players. But even last season, there was a sort of structure. There was Vinny on the left, Bellingham sort of your false 9, 10, sort of a very offensively minded midfielder, Rodrigo on the right, Cruz in the middle. There was a structure, there was a pattern of a way that worked for them, and it was hugely successful with 𝙀𝙀𝘿𝘾𝘼𝙎 at right back, and etc., so on and so forth. Now, obviously, this season, there's been injuries, etc., so on and so forth. They lost Tony Cruz, but the construction of this team, guys, we need to talk about it. It is abysmal. I mean, with as good as 𝙀𝙀𝘾𝘼𝙎𝙾 is today, and I thought he was fine today, then wasn't poor necessarily. The fact that you're relying on a Fabrica graduate to basically be just like that, be your main starting center back. Does he have the quality to do so? Yes. In Rudiger, fine. But you've had to put Tchouameni there, putting Valverde at right back. Alaba, who hasn't played in this position at left back in years at this point, is only recently coming back or sort of really gaining back into form, who he himself wasn't really good all that recently. You're playing out nearly 40-year-old Luka Modric. And okay, today you go and see he's fine today, did his thing, but he just does not have the legs to play a full 90 in a game of this caliber, of this intensity for an entire 90 minutes. The fact that you're having to rely on a 40-year-old Luka Modric in this game just shows how disastrous your squad construction is. And then obviously the worst culprit of all of this is the attack. I don't care how it is. I don't care what needs to be said. The Vinicius Jr., Kylian Mbappé-Lotin partnership does not work. It cannot work. They occupy the same spaces. They're on the same space. Even though today I thought Mbappé really did try to stay a lot more central, they do the same thing. They occupy the same spots. And I mean, there's been rumors previously in the past going and saying that Real Madrid, the Kylian Mbappé signing was more so of we'll say PR signing or Perez signing, not necessarily a sporting one. And the more and more you think about it, potentially, I mean, at least maybe whether it's true or not, we'll never really know. But in terms of what you see on the pitch, it's it doesn't make sense. Real Madrid did not need Kylian Mbappé there. I say he's been fine and so on and so forth. And people, a lot of people said before, I was necessarily in that boat, but that Kylian Mbappé would go to Real Madrid and make them worse. Now, I don't think it's solely necessarily him that's made them worse overall. I think the fact that Tony Cruz left, that 𝙀𝙀𝘾𝘼𝙎's had his injury, and that they've had injuries at the back are significant things that have hampered Real Madrid's season thus far. But I think going and bringing him in, at least last year, you go and you think Bellingham, if your front three, if you want, of Bellingham, Rodrigo, and Vinicius, you could argue, okay, Bellingham, he comes back. So realistically, you have only Vinny and Rodrigo who don't really offer you too much defensively, and even Rodrigo sort of does. But now putting Mbappe there, you've got two people who, first and foremost, occupy the same spot, like to drift out left, sort of come in. Vinny is really more sort of a touchline winger, but Mbappe is sort of a left inside forward, so to speak, but they occupy the same spaces. And on top of that, now none of them defend. No defense, no defending whatsoever, because they don't run. They're not going to press, so you have to sit back. There's just no cohesion whatsoever. As I think the squad selection, the tactics, they're non-existent. And I mean, I don't want to go and say Carlo Ancelotti is going to go down as one of the greatest managers in the history of the Champions League. In one aspect, I feel bad for him because, I mean, people go and said, I think, and this is where I hope people are going to now appreciate how difficult it was for the managers at PSG. And people are going to, why I mentioned PSG? Because this thing is, I sort of feel in a certain way for Carlo Ancelotti. Because if you go into this game, you're going to bench either Vinny or Mbappe? You're going to bench one of the best two players in the world? Even though realistically speaking, Real Madrid's best game this season was when only one of them was playing with Rodrigo, because it's a more balanced squad. There's more cohesion. It's more defensively sound and astute. It's not heavily tilted offensively with no defensive rigidity, and even offensively, there's more patterns of play because the players aren't stepping on each other's toes. So, but you're gonna go in and prevent them, not play them. The same thing was happening at PSG when you had to play basically Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe. You couldn't take them off, even though realistically speaking, taking at least one of them, if only playing with two of them, would have been better. Here, you're only talking about two, and the same thing is happening. I think what it shows is that football, I think, and in Mbappe's words, le football, football has changed. Gone are the days where you can have the MSNs, the BBCs, these ridiculous front-setted attacks that do not defend. And even in those days, if you want, you say MSN days, okay, you could say maybe it was Neymar would come back, sort of. Messi was sort of the one who you sort of allowed to do whatever, and even Suarez would, do his bits. but the M&Ms, BBC as well. BBC, yes, BBC, even if you go and really think about it, Benzema puts in a lot of work, right? But they didn't last together as a collective, like regularly playing games all that long. And even still, it was only Cristiano really doing that. But now you go and you have two, Vinicius and Mbappe, two very similar, not play style of players, but players who occupy the same spaces on the pitch, playing on the same team that offer zero, doubt, nothing, zilch defensively. And I think that's why I'm saying football respect is that if that doesn't happen, it can maybe get you through in La Liga games earlier on in the Champions League, maybe scruff your way through it around the 16. But now in the quarterfinals where you're playing against the upper echelons, the true top teams in Europe. Yes, Real Madrid. Yes, you got the pedigree, so on and so forth. But guys, at the end of the day, football has to be respected to a certain degree. And football by Real Madrid wasn't respected. There's no tactics, no proper squad selection, so on and so forth. And they paid for it in cash. And now it's to sort of project onto the the second leg now. I mean, it's not over. And I'll go and say, as an intro, I said I want Real Madrid to go through. I'd rather Real Madrid go through than Arsenal go through. I want Arsenal gone more than I want Real Madrid. I'm thinking here, like, even Real Madrid, for all the remontadas, the juju, the black magic, the sorcery, the paying off the rest, all this stuff, even for them, les gars, c'est compliqué. It is tough. I do not know if they can do it. Les gars, I genuinely am not sure if they have it in them to be able to do so, because now we're talking 3-0, and you're playing against Arsenal, a team who can defend. If they need to hunker down, stay back, and just park the bus, they probably could. They probably can do that for 90 minutes and going through. Because you're thinking you're doing that. Whilst you're doing that, you're also exposed on the counter yourself. So it is going to be extremely, extremely, extremely difficult. Obviously, it's Real Madrid. It is not done. If they get a goal early, get one maybe right before half, then it's all to play for. But if you go and it's halftime and it's still 3-0, I think it's over. And going back to the game, congratulations, Arsenal. I mean, listen, obviously people know where I stand on Arsenal, Mickey Mouse FC. But today all you can do is clap your hands and say congratulations, because it was a complete performance, a dominating performance. You went and beat arguably the most successful team in Champions League history, and one of the best teams over the last 3 to 4 or 5 years, if you want, in the competition in Europe as a whole. And so congratulations on that. And we'll see if they can replicate things at the Bernabeu. I don't necessarily see them going and winning at the Bernabeu and projecting onwards. I could see Real Madrid, coming back and maybe getting a win, but surely 3-0. Surely not 3-0. If Arsenal managed to muck this up and get eliminated, guys, we are on one of the biggest bottle jobs ever. All right, we're up here because PSG won 4-0, so we're preaching one goal less than that. And Real Madrid they've done 2-0s. They've come back from 2-0 to PSG 2021, 2022, that season. PSG won 1-0 away. At home, pardon me. Then they won 1-0 up in Madrid for the Madrid to come back and win 3-2 on aggregate. Even the Chelsea ones, they'd go 1 goal up, or even the City ones, maybe 2 goals up, but it was never 3 goals down in a single leg. I think even for Real Madrid, this is going to be extremely, extremely tough. I mean, you were hearing Ancelotti speaking in the post game in the mixed zone, so on and so forth, saying that all they can do is try. Obviously, that's what you're going to go and say. But even by them, I think they really realized. Jude Bellingham said it as well, that they were well beaten today, and that they could have been even more. So respect on him for being candid and open about it and honest that they were just bad today, and that it could have been more from Arsenal. But yeah, that's my analysis on this. That's my thoughts. I'd be curious to know what you guys think. If you are an Arsenal fan and you want to go and laugh at me, comments are open. If you're a Real Madrid fan and you need to wallow in your tears, we're also here for you. It was a great game for neutral, for the hate watch. As I said before, happy that Real Madrid got smacked, but also not that now Arsenal fans are going to have a bit of too big of a head. So I'm hoping for at least a tighter game in the second leg to make things a bit more interesting, and we'll see who goes through. But anyways, guys, thank you as always. It's been a pleasure. Thank you to everybody who was on stream live with me as I was going and doing the watch along, and everybody's going to be watching this video. It's been a pleasure as always. And remember, stay safe, stay kind, and stay blessed. Godspeed.